What's up, everyone? Welcome to Talk Now. It's Beginner Stock Talk. I'm going to be covering the Tesla Annual Shareholders meeting that we had a few days ago and discuss some of the highlights that I thought were important that you might want to know and that I did not know. And I made a list of topics that I'm going to cover, and so I'll just run them down and talk about battery cells, Tesla history, inflation, lithium, FSD, factory recycling, operating margin, solar panels, vehicle structure, factory layout, Tesla jobs, work at Tesla, safety, superchargers, crashes, AI Part 2, which is on September 30th, 2022, optimist, volume of cars, questions from audience, which I would recommend staying to the end of the video, and vision. So with that, I'll jump into it. And so Tesla right now is using the 2170 battery cells to finish making the Model 3 and Model Y. The 4680 battery cell will be more important next year. There's about 100,000 people using the Autopilot or FSD right now, and that's a collection of probably his people that work for him, and not too. I don't want to say things I don't know. And then, Tesla started 5 to 6 years ago, and they are super pro manufacturing. So, one of the things that was highlighted in this that I thought was important was that inflation, that Elon believes inflation is declining, will decline by the end of the year, but take it with a grain of salt. Those are his words. Entering the lithium business, and the lithium mining business is the new hot topic right now and moneymaker. So if you're interested in any of that, lithium is where it's at. And I'm saying this because this man said it. Let's see, where are we? Cryptocurrency, is it important right now or not? Yes and no. Bitcoin, I don't think so, but maybe. Tesla does not have any Bitcoin anymore, but it does carry Doge. So it does carry cryptocurrency, which will affect the stock somehow a little bit. So don't forget that part. It's important. Now going into full self-driving and the about it and some numbers. So it's FSD, full self-driving. They have, like model 1.0, whatever. So they have 10.11 right now. This is what they went through. 10.11, 10.12, 10. Is there upgrades? 10.13, and they are hopefully getting to 10.69. So that will be pretty cool. I only said that because he said that. We have 2 teams working 7 days a week on this, trying to solve this AI issue, and mainly, I'll get into that, but if you think of like elevators, and back in the day, there was a person that actually pulled the elevator to go up, and now we push a button and then we get in and the elevator goes off and it lets us off right on the level that we're supposed to be. That's kind of like, the future of cars, of where we were and where we are now. Take it however you want to take it as an analogy. We do have something to look. There's a lot of things to look forward to, which here are some fun facts. One, the Model Y is the highest selling car this year and then highest selling car this year. And then by volume, it will be the highest selling car next year. Now, there's announcements of new factories coming out. There might be one coming out sooner than we actually know. but Tesla is planning on making at least 10 to 12 more factories globally. And he's asking us where to put them. But also at the same time, he's got to go with what's the most important, who needs it first. And so basically, yeah, 10, 12 gigafactories averaging 1.5 to 2 million units per factory. At a unit car. And so the factories we have right now are Texas, Fremont, basically it's Texas, California, Shanghai, and Berlin. That's where we have everything going on. And so the 3 pillars to sustainable energy future, you've heard me say this before, but I'll repeat it again, is 1, sustainable energy production, which is from wind and solar, sun. 2, stationary battery packs. That's to store the energy to bring it back to Earth. And then 3 is electric transport, which is Starship. And so, Mars is pretty cool and it has a lot of raw materials that a lot of us probably don't know about. I don't know, and I did geography and learned about it, but whatever. Let's talk about what does Tesla do with the batteries left over? It takes like 10 to 15 years for a battery to go away, and they've already started their own giga recycling factory in Nevada, and by the end of 2021, Tesla's gigafactory achieved a recycling rate of 50 packs per week to recycle. And that is a slow recycling process because batteries take so long to disintegrate and be no longer useful. Recycling start out as small and becomes very significant in the long term. Now, we're going to talk about operating margins. Tesla has the highest operating margin out of any automobile maker in the world, period. They have the most capital. No one's even close to that. And it's a lot of it is because of globally connecting together to solve a bigger issue. So, Tesla's solar panels, they're in the energy, solar panels. We are in the solar. Tesla solar panels already are seeing more energy produced than used. That's pretty rad. I'll say that again. Tesla solar panels are already seeing more energy produced than used. And so you could look at like a battery pack as like high grade ore, which is like it's something that's expensive, used. It's a raw material. So now we're going on to the master plan 3 of Tesla. And, fundamentally it's about scaling. Not up or down, just scaling. What are the things that are needed to achieve a full sustainable economy? And many people don't know this, and I'm one of them. And so tons of lithium, cathode, and electrolytes are things that we need. The sooner we do this, the better the planet Earth will be. And this is possible. And it sounds kind of broken up sentences, and I hope you get this message, but there are people that have lost hope, literally lost hope, and do not see a future at all. And Elon's here, and I'm here to tell you to politely change your mindset and know that there is hope. and it's not lost. And we have a very bright, optimistic future coming ahead of us. So I don't want to get into that, but so simplification of vehicle structure. The Model 3 has 171 pieces welded together. The Model Y has 2 pieces welded together. So huge improvement of body structure. It's a testament to the gigantic improvement casting reduced robot count. Basically, that didn't make much sense, but I'll move on to the next more important thing. Model 3 is 30% less robots are being used than on the Model S. That's improvement. All of these things are really important that I'm saying right now, and why it's 10 minutes already into this video is because there's a lot of important stuff that will hopefully make you believe in this company. And yeah. So the layout of the factory is, so it's close to a single monolithic factory with a very straightforward flow. And so I'm not going to Google monolithic factory right now, but do that. Check it out. It's important. But mono is one, and lithic is, I don't know what that is, but basically long-term sustainability for Tesla is manufacturing. That is the key to Tesla. And where do engineers want to work? Well, here, let's just look at my notes backwards. Check this out. We got one person, engineers. The first 2 top are SpaceX and Tesla. After that, it's NASA, Lockheed, Boeing, Google, Apple, Microsoft, and Northrop Grumman, Amazon, GM, Ford, Toyota, Intel, BMW, IBM, Blue something, Honda, NVIDIA, and AMD. So a lot of people behind, and that's okay. We're here to work together. So if you want to work for Tesla, here's something cool about the jobs with Tesla. If you want to work for Tesla and you start working for Tesla and you're doing, working on cars or some air sector of that part, and 5 years go by and you're like, you know what, fuck this, like I don't want this job anymore, and I'm kind of cool. This space stuff kind of looks cool. You can transfer your job from working at Tesla to SpaceX. That is something that just changed. And another big deal is that the safety score of globally, the safety score is decreasing, and it started from January 2021, and it's to January 2022, it's down 26%. And the average it's down 26% from 3.8 to 2.81. And the average is 3.63. So we're getting down. We're working our way down. Job applications to work for Tesla, 3 million people applied last year for the job working for Tesla. In 2029, they had 750,000 people. In 2020, they had 2.5 million people applying. 2021, they had 3 million people applying for jobs. I'm not kidding. This is dead serious, real talk. Now, superchargers, 99.96% of them work. A lot of people complain about superchargers. I get it, but I don't, because I don't have a Tesla car. But the feedback loop from one's car information to a supercharger, which can figure out how to fix the Tesla supercharger. So basically, your car is whenever you charge your Tesla car, that is helping the supercharger feedback loop for how to improve itself, which no other company has got going on that I know or aware of. Tesla also has the lowest car crashes out of any. Tesla has the lowest crash record according to the National Safety Highway Transportation Authority people. Why? Because all Tesla cars are connected. This is the Neuralink part. This is the linking, the webbing part. So if Tesla feels they need to change a safety feature for a car or cars, they do it over the air update on the car and change it. You don't need to go to the mechanic. It's all internet related through Tesla AI Autopilot. And so with that, we anticipate that the crash. So basically with this is so dope. Imagine, okay, car crash. You crash in a car, airbag deploys. Tesla car. It sees a car crash, and if it's 99.96% sure it's about to crash, it already adjusts the tension on the seatbelt and deploys the airbag prior to the crash, which makes it less intense on the person who's driving. That's dope. That's rad. So, you know, FSD is just growing at an unprecedented rate. And, you know, Tesla AI Day Part 2 is on September 30th. Don't forget that. There's a lot of cool stuff happening. Something to look forward to. There's the Optimus robot. We've heard a little bit about that. But that will become more valuable than the car over the long term. It will turn the vehicle to, this will change our economy to which a point there will be no shortage of labor. That's pretty huge. And so next decade, volume of cars. How many cars will Tesla have in 10 years? 10 years ago, Tesla had 300,000 cars. Now Tesla has 3 million cars 10 years later. This is math stuff, important, somewhat related to some things, other things. Questions from the internet. Now this is important. So I'm going to read these questions. They're important. You can leave or not. But how does Tesla Autopilot intend to utilize money in the incoming years? And through basically, like, is it going to increase the cap? Is there share buybacks, dividends, or acquisitions? And so the answer to that is that Tesla really hasn't had any acquisitions except for two. One was for Solar City, which was a gigantic acquisition for Mars. And the next one is Tesla Growman. All the rest of this was organically grown by you and everybody that's interested in this company. Pretty dope. How many factories are necessary to achieve a long-term target of 20 million vehicles a year? Math question. Roughly a dozen, with 12. Aiming at 1.5 to 2 million units a year per factory. California, lucky us, will run out basically 700,000 to 900,000 cars a year. We're aiming at a giant monolithic. We're aiming for giant monolithic buildings. That's a quote Elon said. Now here's a question about the Cybertruck. Cybertruck specs pricing will be different. So they're on track for production for the model next year in a few months of installation. Next year, they're aiming at the volume I can't read my writing, but basically next year will be they aiming at volume. This year it's just installing the parts to make the car. So another one is, how is Tesla viewing the geopolitical risk between China and the US? And the answer is for hope and peace and respect. That there's hope for peace and respect. That's a really very vulnerable question. And now we're going to get into permits, and this is very important. If you're still watching, this is you'll get this one. And permits are a bitch. They're a total bitch. And Elon talks about it. It took basically, all right, so superchargers being deployed wherever there is. So basically with superchargers, wherever you think there's a need for one, there will be superchargers there a lot sooner than you think. And the only thing that happens that makes it difficult are these permits. They're a bitch, total bitch. And this is a quote, sometimes the greatest need for difficulty because of permits. Getting a permit in Malibu is nuts. It took years to get a permit in Malibu. Unbelievable. I'm almost pissed now. Now, making a supercharger station in LA, that vision is happening. I know of an area where I see it being built. I won't get into that. It's in Santa Monica, but it's gonna have a futuristic look, like Blade Runner meets Grease meets the Jetsons. And you can charge your car, kick back, eat a cheeseburger, and they'll have these big screens, and they'll show like the best 100th videos to watch. And you can eat while your car charges or whatever. But that's great for growth and distribution and for the company. So next is about inflation again, and inflation in 2023. Prices are trending down. Elon guesses we're past peak inflation, but he does see a mild to moderate recession for 18-ish months. I think it could be longer or shorter. Inflation will drop rapidly though. Typically cars are used, like now we're gonna go into like cars. Typically a car, there's so many cars out there that just sit. They're not driven at all. They just sit. About 12 hours out of the week they're used. And if autonomous cars were in there, they'd be being used about 50 to 60 hours a week. That's 4 to 5 folds in utility of a car. Still, the car costs the same. The effectiveness, gross margin, kind of boggles the mind. And options, there's options for owners or non-owners of renting a car. If you have a car and you own a Tesla car, you can rent it to someone else. Or you can rent it back to the company. Or just completely rent a car, whatever. But optimists will bring the future now. That is a quote. And assuming we can do all these things, Tesla will be the most valuable company in the world. So retail investors are better analysts than analysts are. The ones that I've talked about and given these fictitious fucking figures. What's the point of a company? A company is to create useful products and services. The company should not exist in of itself. It's a group of people gathered together to make products and services. If these products and services are great, it's valuable and useful for the company. I'm sorry I'm partly reading this, but if they're not great, then the company sucks. That's it. So that's why Tesla's aiming to be having your car experience the best experience and the most fun you've ever had when you're in the car going from A to B. And so a lot of people focus, like me, too much on short-term things. The bumps in the road, crossing the creek, or jumping over the bridge. And, there's no need to do that. My best friend, I won't say his name, and he probably won't watch this video, but he tells me that all the time. I call him up, I'm tripping about this, and that, and he's like, Tuck, bigger picture. Don't get caught up, and this is not advice at all financially. Don't get caught up on a $50 or $75 movement. Bigger picture. It will work. Now, another thing that was brought up was a Marine asked this question, and if Marines would be allowed to be space Marines. And so Elon said, yeah, sure. So we can have Marines on Mars, space Mars Marines, or Marine space Mars, I don't know. When will Tesla launch its first pilot city for Tesla network, robotaxi? This is a difficult question, but it's a more widespread, not specific to one location. There's regulatory approvals, and they can be easily passed or difficult, like at Malibu or living in California. Gary Black, important figure. The only two public. This is something that Elon Musk said, and he said this. The only two I wrote this down, publicly security traded companies I own are Tesla and Twitter. He already owns Twitter. I already thought that. Maybe he owned Twitter this entire time. So Twitter, it has a good sense of a point of engineering team to make it radically better. What I'm trying to say is Twitter is on the road of positivity and not negativity. Now I'm jumping over to The Boring. It's a half an hour into this. The Boring Company, they are making 3D roads and basically, taking the streets that we drive on and making them underground and have multiple layers of tunnels boring everywhere throughout all cities, and changing streets into parks and not a street where cars drive anymore because they're underground. That's going to happen. And an example of that is in Nevada, Las Vegas. So, and I'm almost done right now. And then there's a commercial aircraft called ACAST, where the aircraft rely on telemetry of their position between one and another to a permanent collision. And Dojo is the third most powerful computer center in the world for AI training right now. And it uses enormous GPUs. Competitively and more effective at neural net framing that of GPUs. Now the end, last thing. How can the masses push your vision, Tesla, Elon's vision? And that's to encourage sustainable energy. Convey the message of optimism, which I'm trying to do right now. If we work really hard towards sustainable energy, if we work really hard towards a sustainable future, We will achieve it. The future looks bright. If you enjoyed this video and you made it to the end, I would invest in Tesla stock. And yeah, if you like this video, push the like button. You can follow me on YouTube at Tuck Notes, and on Instagram at Tuck Notes too, because I post a lot of Elon's codes on there too. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it informative, and I'll see you on the next one. Later.